Hey, what's going on? So, a couple of weeks ago, in one of our coaching calls, a lovely couple, Conrad and Cinderella, we were telling them about the system that we use to manage our lives and our business. And then another community member, Natalia, was very curious to learn it as well. And so I just decided to create this video and share with you the system that we use to manage everything in our business and our life. And then along with that, also giving you the template of this so that you can use it and adjust it as you see fit for your life and your business. So let's get into it. What you have in front of you is essentially a master task list. And over the last 6 or 7 years, I've worked in several product leadership capacities, product management, running sprint teams, working with a bunch of engineers, a bunch of designers, working on large scale tech projects. And there are a lot of processes, there are a lot of tools. Now, as solopreneurs and couplepreneurs, we just want the simplest system for us to be able to manage the things that we need to do. Before this, we were using ClickUp for task management, but Notion for everything else. And late last year, we just wanted to merge everything together so that Notion can serve as our central command center and the central hub for everything that we are working on. So what you have here in front of you is a master task list that is built in Notion. So let me break this down for you. So what you see at the top here, you see these three little target emojis. These are essentially the goals for the month. I would say have one goal, do not have more than 3 goals. And why we have the goals here is because having our monthly goals in front of us allows us to stress test and make sure that everything that we're working on and touching is moving towards the goals that we have in our life and in our business. You can see have a happy and healthy birth for Luana is a life goal. Secure one high ticket client for venture design is a business goal. So we have now just started to see everything together because the projects that we have in our lives, whether they're personal or business, come down to executing on a specific set of tasks. So we see those all together. Now let me go into the system. So you have the different views here, and I'll explain each view. But before I explain the views, I just want to explain the properties of any specific task. So at the top here, what you see are properties of a task. So there's a name for the task. So scope processes cross org for roles. That's not a very well-written task. I'm just sharing this in its raw form because it was requested by a few community members and I figured it'd be useful. This is not in perfect shape, but you get the point. This is the name of the task. I open it up and I can see that there are subtasks within here. So in Notion, to create a subtask, all you have to do is bracket, bracket, space, right? Bracket, bracket, space. So you can create a task, and if that task has several steps to it, that's easier for your process to manage. You can say step 1, step 2, and once you create a checkbox, you just hit enter and it creates another checkbox. So if we go through the properties here, what you have is the name for the task, the project. So these are the 6 different projects or containers that we have in our life that any task can fit into. What is the function that it's serving? Is it serving our Dharmic design community? Is it serving our real estate investments? Is it serving our venture design offer? Is it serving our audience growth? Is it serving family and homestead matters? Or is it serving our yin yang living product? Right? So these are all of the different projects that we currently have going on in our life and our business. And then we have different statuses. So not started, you notice that all of these in the backlog are not started. I'll explain the backlog after I explain the properties. So you have the property of not started on deck, which means that we haven't made any progress on it, but it is in focus and something that should actively be done very soon. QA required means that something is in progress and requires quality assurance. You can ignore this if you are a solopreneur. If you are a couplepreneur, QA is gold. QA is quality assurance. QA means, hey, I did a thing. I want you to review that thing and assure the quality of it. In progress just means that this task is in progress and actively being completed, and done is obviously completed and done. You have the impact property. So here, is it high impact, medium impact, low impact, meaning the impact that it's going to have on our overall goals, right? Is doing this thing high impact towards our goals? Is it low impact towards our goals? Is it somewhere in the middle? Effort. What is the effort required, the time required, the energy required to complete this thing? Is that high, medium, or low? And for those who have progressed through Discover Your Dharma and Launch Your Offer, you should be familiar with the impact to effort ratio or matrix. And so we use that here within our task management system as well. And then the deadline, when is this due? And I'll talk a little bit more about deadlines. Who is the person assigned to it? Is this a one-time task or is this a daily recurring task? Is this a creative task, meaning that it requires deep focus and creative flow? It's creationary, it's generative. Is this an administrative task, managing invoices, adjusting bank accounts, setting up new subscriptions? Is it a managerial task, managing projects, managing clients, managing communications? Or is it a self-care task, right? So these all are kind of a different energy of task. And so to be most efficient, we want to group related tasks together, meaning that I batch all of the creative tasks within a window and then do all of my administrative tasks within a window, do all my managerial tasks within a window, because they all require the same type of focus and the same type of energy. And so we have work type. So these are the different statuses, the different properties, I should say. Now, I want to go through the different views. This is the least organized view that we're in. This is the backlog. So the backlog are all of the things that we know that we need to do at some point, but it's not necessarily a priority now, or we don't know when it's going to need to happen. This is just our place to dump things that we know we're going to need to do. Even this says add. It's not very descriptive, but if we were to action this, we would move it into weekly priorities and make it a very clear task. The backlog is a little bit sloppy because it's just we're dumping the things that we know that we need to do, even if they're not in perfect executable shape. So that is the function of a backlog. What are all the various things that we need to do? And a good practice is to keep your backlog clean and not just dump things that say add in there, but priorities, So backlog is one view. This is where all of the things that we know we need to do, but they're not in focus yet live. Then you have weekly priorities, right? You can notice this is quite cleaner here, right? So weekly priorities are, what are the things that are on deck? This is the status of on deck this week. So what we define as on deck is this is in focus, this is in scope, this is on deck, right? So weekly priorities, what are the different things that are on deck this week that we need to tend to or that we need to get done? And then you have the daily tasks. So I find that I am most effective when I have a clear set of daily tasks, right? Thinking at a weekly level of tasks, I find that things slip, deadlines don't get hit, etc. What works best is just knowing what are the things that I need to get done today. And this is best defined the night before or the day before. So before you finish your work day, the previous day, go into your weekly priorities and decide which ones are going to be on deck for tomorrow that you are going to complete tomorrow. So we have today's tasks, which you can see, these are all due today. And then there's these other types of tasks, which instead of one-time tasks, these are daily tasks, right? So everything you see here is a one-time task. I create the 30-day postpartum food plan, and then that gets completed, and I'm not going to need to create another 30-day postpartum food plan until we have another child, right? So one-time tasks get treated differently than routine daily tasks. So we have the one-time task that I need to do today, and then I have my daily checklist of things that I need to do today. And you'll notice that these daily checklists align with my goals for the month, right? Because the goals are not actually about hitting the goal. The goals are a catalyst for you to do a set of actions, right? It's the catalyst for you to implement the systems and actions required to hit that goal. What a lot of people do is they set a goal and they think it's about the goal, and then they get disappointed when they don't do the goal or they don't hit the goal. But what it's really about, the goal is serving as a catalyst for us to take the necessary actions. And so I look at what are the daily recurring actions that are going to require me to, that are required for me to hit that goal. So we have one-time tasks, we have daily tasks, right? Responding to messages and posts within Dharmic Design, checking and adjusting our meta ads campaign, publishing on LinkedIn, publishing on Instagram, sending 3 warm outreach messages to new project leads. And then when these are complete during the day, I can just check these off in a nice checkbox fashion. And then there's a box here where at the end of the day, I can reset it for the next day. Right? Because these are not things that get done one time and end up in the done category. These are things that are recurring daily actions. So I can mark them off, and then I can reset it for the next day, do it all again. Now you have the QA. There's nothing in here now, but this is where a task, if it required QA, let's just say, for example, and now you see that there is a QA task in here for Cameron to review, and we're actively checking the QA to just make sure that there's nothing bottlenecked or nothing that needs our attention. We also work in the same physical location, so we can also talk to each other quite easily. So that's QA, and then in the done is just where all of the things that get completed live. All the one-time tasks that are done live here. We don't normally visit this view, but this is just where the done things end up, and we decided to leave the view here. And you'll notice that the different views have different architectures. So what statuses are shown, what task types are shown, how it's sorted in the list. And so if you are adjusting this for yourself, please know that if you want to make any adjustments to the view, you can change how it's sorted, you can change what statuses are shown, you can change what task types are shown, you can add new filters here. You can also edit the properties if you wanted to add new properties. Properties are these different things that you see here, the different properties of an item. Because in Notion, this is a database, and these databases have items. An item can have properties, right? You can edit and adjust these properties. This is a date property. This is a select property, right? This is a person property. This is a text property. And so you can adjust these properties as you see fit. And the gift that we have for you is your own template right here. If you wanted to adopt this system, adjust this system to your own liking, it is a little bit more advanced in terms of Notion. And then you can also change your image just to have a nice inspirational, motivational image, and treat this as your daily source of truth. And we're going to be continually updating this as we go. We very recently migrated from ClickUp to Notion, and so this is going to be a work in progress. And if we make a significant change to it, I will let you know why we changed it, what we changed, and of course to give you that updated template. But for now, this definitely covers the bases of what one needs to execute on the things that you need to do to hit your goals in your business and your life. All right, peace.